many players have you had a chance to speak with?
Yeah, I've spoke to just about all of them. This is as you guys well know. I'm every time you take a call, there's 3 more waiting in line. But we've got it, just about everybody. I met with Kyle because he was in town, and I'm getting ready to go see Jonas here shortly, and then I'm going to go see DeMar, and then we're going to catch up with Serge, and we got some of the younger guys coming in here in about 10 days as well. So.
Well, we've seen you working closely with Jonas after practice a lot over the years. I mean, how do you see him fitting in at both ends with what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're starting again. I think he had a good year last year. I think, again, I mentioned this in the press conference. The biggest key for me is that you got to put these guys in positions where they can be successful, right? And I think we've learned a lot more about Jonas and what he can do, and not try to expect him to do things he can't. And we either got to work on the things he can't a lot more, right? Or we just got to build our schemes around doing what he can do really well. And I'm looking forward to this. I kind of alluded to it in the press conference, but I've got some defensive schemes in my mind that aren't quite ready to be talked about yet. But that's along the lines of that, is like trying to figure out how I can get these guys in the right positions and keep them there. And again, it's zone ideas, but with man-to-man principles, switching and things like that. So that's the biggest thing for him. I think his offense is going to continue to expand. I mean, we started in, Jonas and I, about 3 years ago now, when I first went to Lithuania to start working him out. I didn't do any post moves with him for like 2 weeks. I went over there and we were running the floor and bringing the ball up the floor and driving to the basket and doing all these things, and I was like, and shooting threes, and we think we got him handling the ball more this year. He had a lot more fun. I think his knowledge of the game increased a lot more incrementally this year than it had years past, because he just wasn't as involved. And I don't know. You guys, I like him. He's out there every night. He truly cares. He truly wants to win, and he keeps getting a little bit better.
You mentioned how much they pushed you at RGV for new ideas.
Yep.
Do you remember 1 or 2 ideas that completely bombed?
Completely bombed. Well, let's put it this way. There was some really strange ones that I had to sometimes veto, maybe here or there, but there were just things like even as simple as you guys remember, a lot of players do this, but I think Nash used to go up and take the fake free throw before he shot the free throw. So that was like one thing we tested. Like we practiced. We had every guy do 150 of those a day for like a 4-week period, and charted that, and we had them all do it in the game. So you're messing with guys' free throw form a little bit here and there, but something like that. Or we'd go on pin down screens, and we'd shoot the gap for the next 1,000 pin down screens we were going to have to just and then test to see if we believed in it or not. And this was a while ago, so people were like, you can never shoot the gap, you can never shoot the gap, and we found out that there was really no difference between shooting the gap and locking and trail and things like that. So those were more of the experiments. It wasn't like we were putting 3-inch rubber soles in their shoes and see if they could be 3 inches taller and if they could still play okay or anything like that.
Are you a big analytics guy in the Daryl Morey tradition?
Yeah, I am. It's part of the reason I went there, Dave. I just won with Iowa Energy in the G League, and I was where I'm from, and I wanted to go there to learn from them. They were kind of like the only ones. I mean, I don't know, what is this? I lose track of the years, but it's probably 8-9 years ago, where not everybody was talking shot spectrums and shooting the 3 and rim and no non-paint twos. Not hardly anybody was talking that way. And I wanted to go there and learn from them, because I was reading a lot and following a lot of the things they're doing, watching what they were doing, and that's why I went.
Can Norm be salvaged?
100%.
How?
Well, he first of all needs to get a little bit back in the fold, and we're doing this now with what we're doing offensively. It was just kind of a little bit of a player development issue, and I told Masai and those guys in the interviews that I take responsibility a little bit for this, is because a lot of times I saw him sitting outside working kind of on his own game, and then that second unit plus a few guys, was over there. I mean, you guys were there enough to see all the work. Those guys were working as a unit together, and they kind of all of a sudden developed a rhythm. It wasn't that Norm wasn't working hard, because he's a super hard worker. You know, he's always one of the first ones there, does all his work. He just kind of, that group kind of melded together because of all the rhythm they developed. And we got to get him into that thing, and he understands that now, and we've got to get him a little bit more with that. And certainly, I'd like him to get a little dirtier, but you know, I mean, as far as getting on the floor, taking charges, just being a little bit more of a factor defensively, because he's strong and athletic, and you got to use that strength and athleticism at the defensive end.
Masai was telling us that he remembers playing against a team that you coached, I guess it would have been like 20 plus years ago. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? What do you remember about Masai?
Well, we, believe it or not, I coached. I was a player coach, and Masai was a player years later. I don't know, 6 or 7 years later, at the same team in Derby, England. So we've gone through the same powerhouse pro team there in England. But then I played there, and then I came. I got to think about this. I came back to the States, and then went back again. So anyways, it was like 95, 96, 97, something like that. I was coaching Birmingham. He was now playing at Derby, and yeah, I remember. I remember he played really hard. He did. He played really hard. Last
couple questions.
Yep.
Coach, you've seen this team up close for 5 years. How close are the Toronto Raptors to getting to where they want to go?
Well, I think we're really close. I mean, we've got to, you know, Indiana takes Cleveland to 7, right? Boston takes them to 7, and we're every bit as good as those two teams, right? We again, I think a bounce of the ball here or there, us playing a little bit better, us coaching a little bit better, and we're in a dogfight with Cleveland this year, and that's what we got to do next year. We just got to get a little bit better, get a little bit tougher, stay together, a little bit smarter, you know, a little bit more IQ out there, and fight it out a little harder.
Do you need personnel changes?
I really like the team, Michael, and I think it's hard to crack that top 10. So they asked me about Norm before. The hardest part he's got to knock somebody out of there. Now, we don't know exactly what the team will look like, but we got a good idea, right? There's a lot of guys under contract, and that's Masai's. I trust Masai and Bobby if they're going to make changes to make it. They asked me one question in the interview that they said, well, what if you get the job and on draft night we do all this and that? And I'm like, you kidding me? I was like, that's G League life, man. I coached 9 different teams in the same season. I think I remember one time we were 30-5. I came home from a West Coast road trip, and 4 guys got called up, and you're like, oh man, we're never going to lose again. And then you're like, are we ever going to win again? You know, so, and then you just kind of grab a couple breaths of air and get up and start coaching again the next day and work with what you got.